Hello everybody, this is the iPhone channel here. It has been nearly 20 years since the release of the iPod Shuffle, and due to the fact the original iPod Shuffle was nearly 20 years old, why not I do an unboxing of the iPod Shuffle, the original iPod Shuffle over here, and show you guys what it is like. Now unfortunately this is actually an open box unit. The new ones are kind of expensive, so therefore I cheap it out and actually buy an open box unit. Now I actually purchased this on eBay for about $50. And unfortunately, there's still this label, Gyrus Medical. I don't even know how. But, yeah, there you go, guys. I'm actually going to unbox it and discuss what it is all about. Now, the iPod Shuffle first generation was actually first released on the 11th of January 2005 during Macworld Expo. And it was the lightest iPod during the time, weighing about 22 grams or about 4/5 of an ounce. And it really resembled a pack of chewing gum. And it actually came in two storage configurations, 512 and 1 gigabyte. Now this is actually the 512 megabyte variant, and it could easily load a selection of songs that could either be played sequentially or randomly. And back then, the 512 megabyte variant actually started at around $100, whilst the 1 gigabyte option actually started at $150. And both are actually reduced to about $70 and $100 respectively, following the release of the iPod Nano later in 2005. And there is actually a plastic enclosure, but due to the fact this is actually open box, therefore there's actually no more plastic enclosure, and why not, I'm actually going to open it. And over here it is. Actually, you do have the earbuds, and I do believe this is the lanyard utility, as well as the iPod Shuffle itself. And over here is the owner's manual, as well as several more. Yes, as you can see, iPod Shuffle. This is how to use. And you also have the user's guide as well. Even longer. And the 1 year limited warranty, of course. All this warranty bullshit. As well as the stickers, yes. Do you know the iPhone 16 series is actually the first iPhone to actually get rid of the stickers? Leave it off to the side, and of course the license agreement also leave it off to the side, and here is the CD. And let me explain to you guys why there is actually a CD here. The last three things I'm going to show you guys is actually this free music for your iPod, download iTunes, whatever, this is from 2005. I don't know what this is, and I do believe these are some of the instructions of how to actually use it. Because ironically, despite the fact the weak part of this iPod is it did lack a screen, the lack of a screen is actually the selling point of the iPod Shuffle, ironically. As you can see, there's actually no screen, and you actually use some of these buttons to actually control your music. Now, unfortunately, if I were to buy a new unopened iPod Shuffle, then it will be very, very hard to open this without actually ripping, because the adhesive has become stronger over the years, just like what Snazzy Labs has said on his channel. And also, I do believe this is actually the CD to install the software, yes. Because the iPod, ironically, does not include like a system on chip designed by Apple, but it is rather designed by Sigmatel. Specifically, the system on chip, the SoC, is actually the Sigmatel STMP35XX, and it actually includes everything, not just the CPU or RAM, but also the USB, flash controller, the DAC, the headphone amplifier, the DC to DC converter for power, and a lot more. And it is actually kind of amazing, given it is one of the first Apple products with a system on chip, and it actually came with an SDK, actually the Sigmatel SDK, and ironically, this is actually the same chip as what is seen on other MP3 players. And do you know one fun fact? This iPod is not built in any of the Apple factories, nor Foxconn. It is actually built in the Asus factory. And there was one day where this iPod Shuffle actually sold 100,000 units per day. Yes, at the Asus factory. Now over here is the CD. I'm actually going to install it on my iMac G5. I actually got from MIT Swapfest. And the reason why this iPod would not work on iTunes but would require different software is because this iPod does require Sigma-Tel SDK 2.6, but I heavily doubt this actually supports on any modern computers, because many of the Macs, like the Apple Silicon, would not really support like PowerPC apps or anything. And now to actually open the iPod, you actually go here, take off some of the wrapping, and as you can see, there are actually some old style earbuds here. Yes, the first generation earbuds. Well, technically not, because this is actually the same earbuds as the third generation iPod Classic, but the second and first generation iPod Classic earbuds actually do have better audio quality, ironically. And over here is actually the lanyards, just like I said, and over here is actually the iPod Shuffle. Yes, and if you were to go here, sorry, I do have to actually peel this off. Okay guys, use this tab to peel it off. And as you can see, it is a freaking thumb drive here. Yes, 0.5 gigabyte, which is quite dope. Now over here will be a typical SanDisk thumb drive, for example, in comparison, to show you guys how small this iPod Shuffle is. It is really small. And this actually transfers at USB 2.0 speeds or even USB 1.1, and actually transfers at 1.4 megabytes per second. So it is really slow by today's standards, but kind of okay in 2005. But as you can see, this is actually a massive thumb drive, and this is actually the enclosure for the thumb drive, which is kind of neat, so it would not corrode, as you can see. And over here are some of the controls here. Now, despite the fact this has so less storage, you gotta remember this is actually in 2005, when a 512 megabyte thumb drive would actually cost around $30 to $50, and a 1 gigabyte, I believe, would cost at least $100 or something, or even $50 to $100. I'm not sure, but nowadays you could actually get this, which is actually a 64 gigabyte for like really cheap, like I believe $7 or $8. Actually, the 128 gigabyte variant is $7 or $8, and you can get 0.5 terabyte. Yes, 1,000 times more storage for the same $30 to $50 price bracket as you did just 20 years ago, or actually nearly 20 years ago, because as of recording this video, it is actually 2024 and not 2025. Now, despite the fact Sigma-Tel is definitely unknown today, it actually captured over 60% of the flash-based MP3 player in the world, yes, in 2004. And actually, the STMP35XX SoC and its software was the most fully integrated portable MP3 playback at the release time, and Sigma-Tel was Austin's largest IPO back in 2003. Given the fact Sigma-Tel was quite significant in Austin, therefore it is no joke. And over here is actually the green indicator. There is actually a common complaint where you would actually flick this off, but the green indicator would actually indicate that it is on. And as you can see, you could actually switch over here. And I do believe this is actually the battery indicator, but I'm not too sure. And of course, I'll show you guys what the buttons are. This is actually the play pause button over here in the center, the volume up and volume down, and next track, previous track. And as you can see, this is where to charge. Now you actually do plug this into a wall adapter, and as you can see, there's actually the engraving Gyros Medical. I don't think there's any way to remove it, unfortunately, but I do have to install the software first. So I'll see you guys soon. Okay guys, I just connected my iPod Shuffle into the iMac G5, and let me tell you guys, it does work. However, you cannot even update it, ironically, because this iTunes is so old, it cannot really connect to the server. You cannot even restore it either, yeah. So you have to restore it with the more modern version of iTunes. But luckily, This does not require the Sigmatel SDK 2.6. I could just like transfer music. Over here I do have a thumb drive, and let me just transfer some music here. Yes, some Bach and Mozart. So I'll see you guys soon after I transfer the music. Okay guys, it has been several months later, and as you can see, this iPod Shuffle is now connected to my MacBook. And as you can see, the MacBook does recognize the iPod Shuffle. Let me show you guys. As you can see over here, yes. And you could also see the orange indicator stating that it's connected to a computer. And audio has been installed. However, I cannot get anything to work, but if you were to pause, then it would stop the blinker, to be honest. And if you were to play music, it would actually show the green blinker. And over here is the battery indicator, yes, showing that the device is actually on. But if I were to plug this out of the computer, unfortunately the battery just dies straight up, yeah, to be honest, which is kind of unfortunate. But I'll show you guys when there's a green indicator. Okay, here it is, temporarily. Now, due to the fact there has been severe battery degradation over the past 20 years, I cannot really play any more music. So unfortunately, I cannot show you guys any music samples from this iPod Shuffle. It could connect to the computer, however, but the battery, I believe, is straight out dead and cannot really sustain anything really, and needs to be connected to a power outlet like 100% of the time. But anyways, enough with the riff-raff and let's move on. Okay guys, if you have heard from early in the video, I told you guys the first and second generation iPod Classics actually came with better quality earphones, whilst the third generation iPod Classic actually came with the cheaper headphones. Now this is actually the exact same earbuds as what is seen in the third and fourth generation iPod Classic. Now, despite the fact this looks very similar and is actually reminiscent of that of the first generation iPod earbuds, in fact it is actually of a different hardware, which is actually cost cutting to actually lower costs and stuff. So hence it is actually going to be slightly different, and when I mean different, I mean worse. And unfortunately, because this is the iPod Shuffle first generation, it could not even support any AirPods. So basically I could only try it out using this or maybe some other 3.5mm headphone. And of course, evident with the lanyard, this is definitely going to be a fitness targeted iPod, and it is going to be geared towards fitnesses and stuff. And due to the fact Apple advertises one song as being 4 minutes per song, as well as being 128 kilobits per AAC encoding, therefore the 1 GB iPod Shuffle is actually rumored to support up to 240 songs based on this calculation. Now, for the iPod Shuffle to actually cater to the limited capacity and intended usage scenario, there are actually 2 new features which were added to iTunes, which includes autofill, which actually selects the songs at random from a user's music library or from a specific playlist, and actually copies as many as would fit into the iPod Shuffle storage, which is actually kind of at least small in today's standards at around either half a gig or 1 GB. And it is actually available as a supplement or replacement to manual selection, an option to automatically transcode audio files of higher specifications to 128 kilobits per second AAC/LC whilst transferring them, which would remain exclusive to the iPod Shuffle until about iTunes 9.1. And according to a review published after release, due to the excellent hardware, there's actually much better bass response on this iPod Shuffle than that of the iPod 4th generation. Yes, this is very teeny tiny and very microscopic, also at the same time being quite superior to even the iPod Classic of its day. And basically, when this iPod Shuffle was released, it actually was purported to have a battery life of 12 hours, but I'm not really sure of the integrity in this world, because in reality I could not really get this to work. So therefore 12 hours, I would say maybe kind of a bit reasonable in 2005 standards, but maybe like about 1 or 2 hours in today's standards. But if you want to like charge the iPod Shuffle, then definitely just connect it to the wall outlets. Yes, because this is actually USB-A rather than like some like 30-pin port, just like many of the iPods at the time. And also it actually has some of the best DAC in the market. Yes, I'm not even joking. This mini device, due to Sigmatel SoC, it actually has some of the best DAC in the market. And lastly, all shuffles were formatted to FAT32 regardless of whether or not it is actually Windows or Mac OS X. And this, you actually connect it via like this, to be honest. I'm not really sure, but you could actually connect the lanyard to the iPod Shuffle and actually use the lanyard to actually hang the iPod Shuffle. Kind of like a fitness tool in case if you have no pockets and stuff. But I don't really care much about the lanyard, so why not? Let's call it a day, and thank you guys for watching. Please give a big thumbs up, subscribe for more videos, and I'll see you guys soon. I'm very sorry if I cannot show you guys an audio sample because this iPod Shuffle straight out refuses to work, and I already charged like a full day, and it has been several months already, but it seems like it's kind of frozen, so why not? I'm just gonna see you guys soon.